Hi, I'm Pam, and I would like to welcome you to the Live Authentically show. My team and I help other people step into their authentic realities, and we do this a number of different ways. My first book is out there, Soar. It's right behind me, actually, and it's an experiential spiritual journey through a transformative event in my life. We also have this podcast where we spread the message of other people who are working to make the world a better place, and also through executive coaching. So, lots of different ways to help people step into their authenticity. And on my show today, I have the perfect person to talk about authenticity, Kathy Motlagh. Hey, Kathy.
Hi, Pam. It's so great to be with you. Thank you for having me on your show.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. In the spirit of full disclosure, Kathy and I have known each other for a while. She's a close personal friend of mine, and she's got this amazing business that she founded, Think Virtues, that I'm excited to have her tell us all about. So it just seemed to be the right time to have you on the show and hear all about the amazing work you're doing in the world. And to kick that off, I'd love to start the show with the same question that I ask all of my guests, and that is, how do you live authentically every day?
That is such a fabulous question. The way that I live authentically is I add value. I try to add as much value to people as I can. Coming from a place of service, coming from a place of love and open-heartedness, and connecting with people in a way that moves them more toward their authentic selves. So.
I love that. I love that. And where I'd like to go next is, we were chatting a little bit before the show, and, Kathy was sharing with me her beliefs about investing in yourself. And I'd like to start there because I think that's a really important way to frame up the discussion is how to view, investing in yourself, why we should make the investments in ourselves, et cetera. So I'll turn it over to you to chat about that.
Yeah, we're all products of our upbringing, society, education, and so we have been programmed and have these biases and beliefs that we spend money, invest money in certain things, and not deem certain other things as important. So we're conditioned to buy, 80, $100,000 on a car that as soon as we drive it off the lot is worth $20,000 less. We buy homes that are $400,000, $500,000. We fill it up with furniture and all these things. Not that those things aren't important or that we don't need those things, but the point is that we're conditioned to believe that those are the things that we spend our money on, and it's okay. But when it comes to ourselves and investing in ourselves, we kind of say, oh no, we can't do that. We don't have the budget for that. So I encourage always in all of my talks, whenever I talk to anybody, I say to them that, consider that you are the most important and valuable asset you have. Without you, without your health, without your mental health, without your physical health, you have nothing. Or whatever you have, what difference does it make? So filling up yourself with um, things that you value most is really important. And I was telling you that the most I have gone with I've been coached my almost my entire adult life. Thanks to my mother. I have a very progressive and a wonderful mother. My mom bought me my very first coaching program as soon as I graduated from college. It changed my life, and I have been coached ever since. And the only time that I stopped was when I realized, you know what, I've been coached by, I've been in Tony Robbins's program. I've been coached by John Maxwell. I've been coached by John Maxwell's coach. These are just amazing coaches. What else can I learn? And
Mhm.
I went without coaching for 3 years. It was the most expensive 3 years of my life, because had I invested in myself and in my business at that time, I would have been 3 years ahead right now. So,
Mhm.
so I just, I always think that it's important for us to pause and really be reflective about the decisions that we make, and investing in ourselves is an important one.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that you had the opportunity to start coaching so early. So you've always, you've had that mindset of growth for, it's been such a long standing thing in your mind for so many years. But was there ever a time, we talk about a lot about the journey from the ego into the soul. And, I think we all start off kind of rooted more in ego just because of programming, what we're surrounded by, et cetera, what we're exposed to. But was there ever a time where you felt like you were more, ego driven or ego based? And was there a particular event, like a heart awakening catalyst or an event in your life that really kind of prompted you to embark on this process of awakening?
Absolutely. That's another great question. It was absolutely I was so into my ego. I had this incredible moment of cognitive dissonance that led me actually to finding think virtues. But right out of college, I got recruited into the finance industry and I became successful very quickly because I was being coached.
Okay.
No thanks to myself. I was being coached by some very, very much people who knew more than I did about the industry.
Mhm.
And I realized success immediately. And so I was making a lot of money. I went on to become the sixth highest producing female financier in the country. And I was, making a seven-figure income and was miserable inside, was empty inside because I wasn't answering my heart's calling. And
Mhm.
so that's when I dove into doing a lot of research on what awakens the soul. How
Mhm.
do you connect with your inner most precious self?
Mhm.
And that started in year 2000. So I've been doing research and being curious about how to bring out authenticity in people, true authenticity,
Mhm.
authenticity that connects you to your soul, to your spirit,
Mhm.
awakens that inner you that has the genius, the one genius that only you have, no one else. The one gift you have to give to the universe is within every single one of us. And to get to that, it takes work.
Right.
So it's been a wonderful journey.
Mhm.
I awakened that inner authentic self in myself. And when I went through the journey, and it wasn't easy, it's not rainbows and butterflies and lollipops, let me tell you. it was, there were some dark moments. But luckily I had a lot of support. I had wonderful coaches to coach me through the process.
Mhm.
And when I came out the other side, the method, the framework that I use to get to my authenticity with the world, and here we are. Think virtues.
That's amazing. I want to dive into more about your company and how you started it, et cetera. But my question for you before we do that is, you commented, you used the word miserable. You said you were making a seven-figure income, but you were miserable. So was there a period of time where you didn't even realize how bad you felt? Because I'm just curious because I know that from, just through my work with people and just life experience, et cetera, that sometimes we're not even fully aware. We're not even tapped into how we feel. We're just kind of going through the motions unconsciously, kind of checking boxes, doing what we're doing. So I'm just curious if there was a time where you felt you were just sort of numb to it all and going through the motions.
I was aware that I was disconnected.
Mm-hmm.
I was aware that there was something missing. I was aware. I was because of the work that I had done from the time I was 22 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I was very self-aware. I was cognizant of the fact that I had this thing missing. But I see what you mean. There's a lot of people that really are comatose, go through life like an automaton,
Mm-hmm.
um, and that's where unfortunately that's where most people are. They get up and do the same routine, do the same thing every day, and somehow expect to have some magical results. And we all know that that's not how transformation occurs, and that's not how authenticity, that's not the realm of authenticity. The realm of authenticity is bold, takes risks,
Mm-hmm.
steps into the unknown confidently, unshakable confidence. There's no imposter syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have imposter syndrome. And I heard something very interesting in one of the group calls. Someone said that unless you are a narcissist, you experience imposter syndrome. And I really disagree with that statement because I think true confidence comes from a place of authenticity. And when you are authentic and living the life you were meant to live and answering your purpose, you're not going to be 100% sure about everything, but
Mhm.
you're 100% sure that you're going to do it. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So it's like that inner strength
Mhm.
is there to pull you and to support your endeavor.
Right. And like you said, when you're truly living in that authentic place, connected to the essence of who you are, tapped into your core universal energy, etc., you're willing to take risks. You know that, you're willing to be bold because you know you'll be fine either way. You release the need to know the outcome, right? You release the need to know the next steps, and you become okay with uncertainty and okay with not knowing. And there's actually, you learn to become comfortable with the uncomfortableness and comfortable with uncertainty because you don't have to have it all figured out. And I know I went through that. I'm a Virgo. I'm very much a planner. I like to have things mapped out, detail oriented, all of that. But that doesn't always work very well. And that's usually a recipe for being, not having your expectations met, being frustrated when life doesn't unfold according to the plan that you laid out for yourself. So that was a big piece of my journey, is learning to release and let go and truly just surrender and know that every day just show up with an open heart and an open mind and just allow. Right. And so I'd love to hear you talk about, I know you have tremendous spiritual wisdom that I want to tap into here, this whole idea of partnering with the universe, co-creating your reality with the universe. Because a lot of people who I know I work with and who I would guess, cross paths with in your work, are very achievement oriented, are very goal focused. And while that's all well and good, we aren't necessarily taught as in society how to relax and surrender and trust the process and let go and have patience and allow. So I'd like to hear you talk about how one can start that process of learning to let go and relax and surrender and partner with the universe.
That's an excellent question because I do get a lot of coaches from the spiritual space attracted to the work that we do. And they're really pleasantly surprised in how the following a certain framework, grounded in a certain framework, because we're still living in a third density world, and the spiritual world is really evasive, really nebulous. So when you live in the realm of abstract, and you want to live a meaningful life, filling your purpose without a map to follow, you're kind of lost in this never land, which is why a lot of spiritual coaches and clients are um, kind of get frustrated. They're just like, I'm just not quite there. I'm just not quite there. Can you help me?
Yeah.
So it's a so we all have in the soul and the spirit of who we are, the ability to connect with the collective consciousness, with God, with the divine. We have divine dwelling in us, but it's just a matter of disconnecting with our programming. And
Mhm.
that's not easy. Disconnecting with our programming, disconnecting with our biases, disconnecting or really um, putting a nice frame around what our belief systems are, where they come from, developing new ones. So these are all deep inner work that is really impossible without someone coaching you through it.
Mhm.
It really is. I mean, I've had psychiatrists who who have been in psychiatry for 3 decades, 2 decades, who have, done a lot of soul searching and don't have helped a lot of people through various situations. When they go through the process, they're like, wow, this was life changing for me.
Mhm.
So no matter who you are, no matter how developed you are, it's really essential, critical for us to live a life, commit to a life of growth, constant growth and development, and not be stay out of judgment. and and to surrender and acceptance is, I think, very difficult if you're operating from the place of ego,
Mhm.
from a place that you can't, a lot of people are still even attached to their past. Their past is
Right.
defining them. Their
Mhm.
identity is defining them. Their perception, the way that they view the world, the way that the world occurs to them. So there's a lot of places one gets stuck. And I think having the framework of going through the process with someone that you trust, someone that is has done a lot of research, because it's, the reason that the medical community, wonderful as they are, as needed as they are, when you go to one doctor who's gone to one school, has one set of beliefs, but if you go to someone who's researched many different disciplines, many different opinions, many different schools of thought, then they
Mhm.
have a much more broader perspective and have a much more wider canvas in which they can help people with. So it's really wonderful to work with someone who has to help you through the process to answer that, because letting go is one of the most difficult things people experience, in what I have seen.
Mhm.
One of the top 10 things that people struggle with is letting go, detaching, allowing. Those are, it's tough. I mean, as easy, it may seem like it's easy, but
Mhm.
it's in contradiction with our programming, and we can't escape our neuroscience.
Right. Yeah. And really that need to control and letting, like you said, letting go is hard, but that's rooted, as you know, in wanting to control, right? Control, which is fear-based. And fear is the absolute, direct opposite from the space that we should be operating from, from the place of trusting and allowing, having faith, connecting to that higher power of energy. So it really is. I mean, it is hard. It's hard to make that shift, but once you do, right? Talk a little. Can you talk a little bit about how you feel when you do shift from from that place of needing to control everything to just letting go and allowing?
Yeah,
How you
yeah. Just
feel.
like you meant, exactly. That's what, just
Mhm.
as you mentioned, control is one of the functions of our ego, which is fear based. And it's freeing.
Mhm.
It's freeing when you're not, when you kind of take off your plate the responsibility of judgment, the responsibility of control, the responsibility of having to constantly be in control of everything and
Mhm.
predict everything and know the outcome of every situation before you enter into it. Then there's a sense of serenity, blissfulness, and freedom that emerges, arises, and that's really our authenticity.
Mhm.
It's like it's really freeing, I think, is how most people describe it. It's funny because right now I mentioned to you before we got on that I hired these wonderful coaches who are trying to help us with various things, and so as a result they wanted me to go back to some of the clients that we've had who've gone through all of our different programs. And so it's interesting to see, to hear what their experience was, to sum it up in a short sentence, like, how was your experience with me and Think Virtues? And so one of the things that they said is that not only was it a life-changing experience, it I felt free.
I
I,
love that. I love that. That's so powerful. Excuse me. So I love everything that you're saying and what you embody. And I know that you've packaged it up so beautifully in the form of this amazing company, Think Virtue. So I love to hear you talk about that, how you got the idea for your company, and would love to hear about all of the exciting things you guys have going on.
Thank you so much. Yeah, Think Virtues, to sum it up, we're a unique holistic education, coaching, and consulting firm. So what we do, we the journey was when I had my awakening, and when I took a look around the world and I didn't like what I saw, and more importantly, I didn't like what I saw here, I didn't like what I saw in the mirror. I wasn't living my true self. I decided to really dive into human behavior and what really empowered us. And over and again, because I'm a graduate of the School of the Art Institute, we studied philosophy, Plato, Aristotle, and so and these guys sat around and contemplated virtues for hours and days and weeks and months and years. And so virtues have always been in the forefront of my kind of peripheral vision in terms of what I admired to study and wanted to learn more about. So I started to study and do research on everything I could get my hands on, reading anything from the Bible, Quran, philosophy, neuroscience, psychology, psychiatry, what moves our emotions, human behavior. I was fascinated with human behavior, what moves our behavior, what motivates us, what inspires us, what instills passion within us. Because as an artist, I mean, I'm always going to be an artist. I want to be in a place where I'm passionate. And my former career, I loved my connection with people. I loved my clients, but I just wasn't in love with what I did. I just thought that there was no deeper meaning. So then, I started to think about having kids, had kids, and I would, all the while I'm studying and learning and growing. I'm being coached in various ways. And my first son, my children went to the school that my mother founded now 35 years ago, roughly. And my first son reached first grade, and my second son was in kindergarten. And Cameron started coming home with these virtues, and we started to talk about it, how it talk about not only the meaning but why it was important and how it's expressed and how it makes you feel and how it makes other people feel when you're, for example, kind, when you're generous, when you're humble. So all these things, and within a month we went through four virtues, and I noticed a huge difference in the way that we're interacting with one another. It's like they had this raised awareness outside of themselves and how they impacted other people in their life experience. And so they were like, I would take them to Target, I'd turn around and there would be 50 toys in the cart. They were like, they're 6 and 4, they were like, oh, I want this, everything. And I started to notice that when I'm taking them to Target, I don't notice anything extra. And I would turn around and go, Cam, Kyle, do you guys want it? No, we're good. So this sense of wanting more, because they were feeling, I think, more whole inside, they didn't have the sense of going out and getting more things, more things. They started to share more. They started to want to be inclusive, have parties that included all their friends. It's just this transformation that I noticed. And of course, after doing much research on the topic, I realized that virtues are who we are. There are spiritual muscles. There are hearts in our souls, and of course they're atrophied because they don't get conditioned anywhere. In order to condition them, we need to work them. We need to contemplate them. We need to practice them. We need to have them in our life experience. So that's how we stood. I went to my sister. I go, my God, I've been looking for a way to really bring out the best in every human being, and I found this is it. We have to get it outside of the walls of this classroom and share it with the world. And so that's what we did. We started a strong. They were already teaching it in the school. I formed a education board filled with people who cared about the topic and thought that this was really one of the most important things that we need to do in our generation, is to make sure that people are more literate about virtues, not from just, because most people, you say virtues, they think values. Virtues are far more than that. They're all of our positive emotions. They're all of our strong characters. All of our confidence is a virtue. Detachment is a virtue. So everything, we work with over 300 virtues, and depending on, and every person, and one of the most important thing that we do when we take people to their authentic self, when we take them through the journey, is identify their top virtues. Because though there are 300 out there, there's only 20 that's Pam's virtues. There's 20 that are my virtues. So it's an important process. It's a reflective, deep inner work that really makes you whole inside. And when you feel whole, when you feel like you're filled with love, joy, enthusiasm, happiness,
Hmm.
fulfillment, and that's when the good stuff is. That's when you start to really dig in and find your talent, find your genius. So that's how the company was founded. Then we had a robust parenting program. I started coaching parents the same way that I was raising my kids on the program. We enhanced it and improved it based on their experiences, and made it better. And then the parents who are using the program, of course, are professionals. Some of them are professional, some of them are, stay-at-home moms, which is, to me, is the hardest job in the world. God bless every single mother out there. Um, and they were saying, you know what, my husband can use this at work, and this we can use this with our teams. This exercises are so powerful. They really create this congruency in our families, and so it was a natural progression for me because I've been coached for so long. I had done so many workshops and coaching in the past, so it was really a natural progression to do this. And so that's how the whole company began. It was just really one thing after another, seamlessly, but a lot of hard work, a lot of learning, a lot of joy, really, too, because people, to me, people are virtuous. That they have all these virtues within them. My job is to just bring it in the forefront of their existence so that they can live the most powerful life they can live.
I love that. And even as long as I've known you, I never really did know the whole story as to how Think Virtues came to be. So I loved, hearing you share that. And I just love how it just blossomed just so organically, just through your life experiences. You just allowed life to flow through you and allowed that to bring out your authenticity and help usher you to what is your purpose. So, as you're sitting here today, this is the reason that you were put on this earth, to help awaken people, help them connect to their deeper virtues, and help them also, play a role in awakening others. So I would love to hear more about what are the formal programs you have in place? Like, who do you currently work with? Do you still work? Do you have parenting groups? Do you work mainly with executives in the business corporate space? Love to hear about what programs you have.
Yeah, thank you. So the parenting, I did parenting one-on-one coaching program, but I that is we have a 5-year waiting list for that because all the parents who are enrolled in the program, they have younger kids and they want to continue. We've already done it, so we don't have the one-on-one available, but we have. So that's why we're rolling out our parenting lane to where we can do group coaching. We have access. They would have access to all of our virtues teachings, how they can inspire virtues and really inculcate and habituate in their children. And when they do that, it's a 2-year program. We're launching it. It's a 2-year program that we're launching at the end of April. When you do that, when you go through the process, and you can start the kids from age 3 and 4, which is what I did. Kyle was 4 when we first started,
Okay.
because they understand, because virtues are in our DNA. They
Mhm.
get it. All they need is a word and a meaning associated, so they know, I got that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's in our DNA. So you can people who tell me, no, my kid is not virtuous. I guarantee you, drives me nuts. All day long. I'm like, no, 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 no. Let's see. So it's all of our children are virtuous. They have all these virtues within them. Our job is to just how to awaken it inside of them, how to teach them how to how to have this shared vocabulary where I say, I need you to be respectful. They are respectful.
Hmm.
you know so it's how, when I say I need you to show up with love, what does that mean? So I like to refer to all the virtues as a dish. Okay. And that all the steps that we need in order to feel loved, for example, feel respected, are all the ingredients, and each one of us is unique in that. And so the program is designed for each family to go through this meaningful experience and identify, this is what love means to me. This is what I expect when you love me. This is what it means. What does it mean for you? So that, because not all of us love the same. Not all of us respect the same. Not all of us, have need the same thing to be confident. So these, it sounds, um, it sounds systematic. It is. It's on purpose. It only takes about 15 minutes a day to do. But
Oh,
what a you set your kids up for life. You don't have to be there to watch them when they're teenagers, because guess what happens? As soon as they become teenagers, you lose them.
mm-hmm.
They move from parents being their center of influence to their friends being their center of influence, and social media and celebrities. And how do you like that?
Right.
How do we like the behavior that we see on social media and celebrities and so on and so forth? Again, we're not judging, but we're noticing, right? I mean, it's like it's the reality that we all live in. So
Right.
how do you prepare your children for that? Because what happens when they turn teenagers, there's a lot of pruning that happens in the brain. So if you notice, like, oh my God, what happened to you? You're not the kid I raised. It's
Mm-hmm.
truly what's happening in their brain. They're making they're disconnecting and reconnecting new synapses, and it moves at a fast pace. So they just kind of grow out of control. A lot of us experience that. A lot of the parents that I coach have experienced that. And if you don't have that foundation set, then it becomes that much harder. It's
Mm-hmm.
still difficult. It's still not easy. Raising kids is not easy. It's not an easy job. I don't recommend it if you're not if you are not committed to it. And so that's that program. And so we're launching that. There's various ways of engagement. We have 3 different offers that parents can participate in. We always have a free option, and we also have ways, different ways that they can get involved and really make a meaningful change and transformation in their family lives. I mean, families tell us, Kathy, if we had this, we would have never gotten divorced. If we
Mm-hmm.
had this, we would have never, I'm so happy my kids, this is our favorite time of day is the 15 minutes we spend discussing, contemplating, talking about our days and how these virtues play in them. And because kids love the topic of virtues, kids love the topic of contemplating things like justice.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, justice is huge in the world. Like, so they really are attracted to it. They're nurtured by it because it's who they are. It's who we are.
Right.
The whole core about think virtues, the reason it's so meaningful to people is because people are so wonderful and so powerful. And the work that we do is just reaches in, grabs the best in them and brings it out. And so they're like, aha, so it's like, that's why the work is great because you're great. The work is wonderful because you're wonderful. You know what I'm saying? So
Beautiful. Yeah.
and the coaching program, we have group coaching. We have a kind of our flagship product or offering, which is our power of authenticity, which is really my own journey that I've kind of created this framework. It's unique. It works for just about everyone. We haven't had a person who has gone through the whole thing that hasn't experienced their authentic self coming out. That is, we offer it in a 3-month setting. We do one-on-one coaching with that, and we also do small pod coaching over a long period of time, 9 months, 6 months, and also 12-month program. So yeah.
Amazing. It's just incredible what you've put together. And it's just such important work that, I hope everyone has an, opportunity to explore. And just listening to you talk about how you're saying the kids love this and, this 15 minutes was their favorite 15 minutes of the day. I would imagine that when people start on this journey, like it must elicit different feelings within them, right? It must fill them up in ways that nothing else in this world can, all of the things that we're kind of conditioned to chase. Like you said, the whole like loading up the cart in Target, no longer, you no longer have the need to do that once you start filling yourself up in other ways, ways that stand the test of time and, really just are, it's just such pillars to live by.
Yeah, it's like, it's not that you don't want to get things, but it's still like you don't need it. It's like, you see kids afflicted by, having to have, and
Mhm.
it doesn't just end in things.
Mhm.
It's also ends in accolades and achievements. They are motivated from a place of authenticity, what's important to them, not what the latest fad is.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a big, because I mean, I remember when I was a teenager, I was so lost. As a teenager, I made so many mistakes. And
Mm-hmm.
I watch my kids and I watch the kids who've gone through our program. They have fun. They build meaningful relationships. They make good decisions. Not that they're perfect by any stretch of the imagination or that they don't make mistakes, but they're at home with it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's really, as a parent, there's nothing else I could ask for is kids that are conscientious, they're in touch with who they are, they're self-aware and aware of their imprint on society and on others, and they know what they want. And they
Mm-hmm.
kind of, they know what they want and they know what they want to lean toward and what they absolutely will not have. There's some gray areas that they still need to experience and they do so open-heartedly. But
Mm-hmm.
then when they feel like, okay, this isn't for me, they step back. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like that. I think that takes developing. You're not born with that.
Mm-hmm.
We're not, our spirit and our soul is wise and knows all, but we're forgetful creatures. We forget who we are. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So
Yeah.
we have to remember this program is really more of a remembrance of our power, remembrance of stepping into it and showing up in a way that we're good. We're good.
Yeah, and what a beautiful gift to give your family and your children from such a young age, because I mean this is an investment that just, they keep reaping the benefits of their entire life. This is something they can take into their adulthood. It'll flow through down into their family. It's just woven into, now their DNA has been reprogrammed, right? It's just woven into to how they are, how they show up in the world, and really they're playing a role in instituting this new paradigm. So when the work is done at an individual level, it just has a ripple effect and flows all through collective consciousness. So any little bit of work that we do on ourselves, I mean, the benefits extend far beyond us, our family. I mean, it really does have a ripple effect on the world. So I'm just so inspired and just so admire all the work that you've done and what you've built. It's truly, truly amazing. And we've got a couple more minutes here if you'd like to share anything else about your company, your programs, what you've got coming up, and also how people can get in contact with you.
Thank you, Pam. You articulated it beautifully as you always do. I love the way you speak. You just
Um,
your voice is so calm and you use powerful words and I love it. So thank you for that. Thank you for the opportunity to be on your show and speak to your audience. I truly am grateful for that. I want people who are listening to really treat themselves with a lot of love and compassion. Give yourselves grace. If you're listening to this and you're thinking, oh, I didn't do this with my kids when they were younger, they're blah blah blah. You know what? It's never too late. And there's more than one way to raise your children. So this program, though it's wonderful, it's not for everyone. But if you come to the realization that you haven't, whatever you're thinking, I just don't ever want to leave people with a feeling of fear of missing out on something. It's never too late. These virtues are the essence of who we are. There are spiritual muscles, and no matter how old your children are, they will resonate. I have someone who decided to gift our coaching program to their college college age um, um, child. And we have had 4 sessions, and I can tell you that the beauty and the strength in him has already awakened. And young people really take on to this program very, very quickly because they haven't had as much programming as the older versions. So anyway, so that's all. I just wanted to let everybody know that we come from a place of love, open-heartedness, and we want you to give yourself the love, open-heartedness, and give yourselves love, grace, and forgiveness, and all of those wonderful virtues. So, and the best way to get a hold of me is info@thinkvirtues.com. Our website is www.thinkvirtues.com. And we have a parenting challenge coming up at the end of April. It's 1 hour a day. I highly recommend that parents of children of all ages come and just kind of check us out. Space is limited, so if you want, sign up, so that we make sure that you get in if you're interested, if this work resonates with you.
Amazing. And where is the best place to sign up for that?
I will give you the link. I will
Okay,
give you the link so that you can, if you may, share it with whoever who
sure.
wants to.
Sure.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
put it in the show notes for sure.
Yeah,
Awesome.
LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn. As far as social media, LinkedIn. I'm not. We do have a following on Facebook, though I'm not active on Facebook or at all on Instagram. So, not a big social media person. But I am on LinkedIn. A lot of my connections are there. Coaches who coach me are there. So, in terms of getting our program out there and letting people know that we're just really getting out there and promoting our parenting lane. So um, we've kind of just gone by word of mouth up until this point. So, but yeah, that's the best place to find us as well as far as social media, LinkedIn.
Okay, amazing. Well, thank you so much. I so appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much for having me, Pam. It's been a pleasure to reconnect with you. You look beautiful as always,
Oh,
and
it's fine. Likewise.
thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And thank you to our viewers and listeners. I appreciate you. And as you know by now, I believe that time is a choice. And I'm grateful that you have dedicated some of your day to listen to everything that Kathy has had to share with us today. Thanks, everyone, and have a great day.